Okay, now in this chapter, we actually see the cover art of Zoro and Sanji battling in their dreams, which we see them fight before, but we never actually see them fight in dreams, in which these dreams are actually got an ending of their battles, in which Zoro has actually defeated Sanji while being praised by Chopper. Then in Sanji's dream, he defeated Zoro and was actually been praised by Nami, in which both of them are actually still have their rivalries, but I respect that. And I can tell that we're actually going to see more of these cover art stories. Now, Kimon actually told them that the castle was Odin's castle, which the people of Kuri actually called the castle Kuri Castle, in which Oda was actually loved by the residents of Kuri, which they actually love him very much, in which he was actually called a wild card. But despite this, being the son of a being the son of Wano, he actually has has what actually been called Lord Kyusuke Tsukiyaki, which he actually got into very violent fights, one after the other, and was actually executed from the flower capital. However, there was actually at a time where there was a place of we had one country that was actually lawless, and that is actually where criminals and rolling exiles are actually roaming out there, in which they form groups to rob and kill people, in which they actually where Curie was actually created. That is where Odin was actually went to Curie, where he actually had a battle with a man known as Asura Dochi, who was actually the most dangerous man out there, in which Odin actually defeated him. Shortly before, he actually rounded up a bunch of criminals in the land and to do raise them from bad deeds, in which he actually forced them to learn to be workers, which they actually did a lot of constructions. He also built a paradise barn for everybody, in which they actually heard the sweet laughters, in which his deed was actually heard. Shogun Sukiyaki heard his deeds, in which he was actually given the title Daimyo of Kuri, which at the young age of 20, he's actually been achieved by it, which he was actually got some good deeds of that. Meanwhile, Sora was actually roaming around while actually being lost. Who actually say that they were actually run her off, which he actually roaming around this into a area that we actually know of, in which he actually saw something that will give him a ride. Meanwhile, at the beach of Wano, we actually see Duke I'm sorry, Duke Ino Ino Inarushi, in which he actually went into the island, which they actually drifted there because he actually remembered the first time he actually met Lord Odin, in which he and Necromamushi actually trained under his teachings, in which we actually see those two at a young age actually been getting punishments by it. But back in the story, where Keeblon actually say that Roger was charmed and Roger was captivated by the samurais of Wano. But then they actually say that Odin was taken to the flower capital and executed as a criminal, in which he actually remembers it, which they actually was upset, in which on the way there, Nigomeoshi and sorry, Inurashi actually started to argue it out, in which they were also been caught by Orochi. Orochi's men, and actually live in actually in which they actually say that they actually saw Kaido excavated their plans, in which they actually say that the castle was set on fire before they can actually reach it. There, they actually found Momosuke and his younger sister, Lady Hayori, and their mother, Lady Tuki, which they actually say that traveling into the future is the only way to get there, in which they say that she was actually born sometime into the distant past, in which they say that she's been traveling further into the future using her mysterious time ability, which actually means that she's actually ate the time fruit, in which that actually explains it all, which means that they actually decide to use her powers to travel into the future, in which they actually did, in which Tuki actually say to take Momosuke with them and leaving him under their care, in which they actually say that when they got there, they actually say that Tuki and his sister was killed, actually written on the graves right now, and the future 20 years after that incident. And they actually seen the world today, which actually explains that they're from the past and they came into the future, which that explains everything that actually happens, in which the pollution of the water was actually controlled by the factories, and the villagers are actually doesn't actually heard their name Kosuki, which they actually never actually heard the name before, in which they actually met a few met a few others who actually serve the shogun, which The first was actually Jinbumon, the Kibi, who actually waited 20 years for Momosuke to appear, in which her last words, in which Tuki's last words was that the Kusuke family will rise again in 20 years, which they actually thought that the 9 red scabbards are actually remains, which he's searching for them, in which they're actually getting ready to fight for the Kosuke's family, in which they actually seen they're actually getting ready to fight for them. And the reason why that they entrusted Kiku with gathering intel of the enemy is because the four of them already knew they actually set out recruit allies, which they already started with the Straw Hats. By leaving the country, they actually knew they were being spotted by Jack, which Raizu, in Su, Kanjiro, Dressrosa, and Kimon and Momosuke are actually in Punk Hazard, which actually explains it all. Which that actually knew how it all gonna happen. In which the allied forces between the Straw Hats and the Heart Pirates are actually going to become the greatest thing that's going to happen to them. Also, the Minks as well, which raging the war is not their actually attention, which their ultimate goal is gathering information in complete secrecy and taking the commander's head, which the plan will commence in 2 weeks' time on the night of the fire festival, which they're going to commence a raid at Onigashima, which an island of the demon. That is where Kaido actually lives, and that is it. We finally knew about the time fruit powers, which Momosuke's mother, Tuki, actually sent him forward into the future 20 years. So they actually knew was actually going to get Wano country back. Meaning they're going to get the Straw Hats to go over where Kaido actually lives at the Onigashima. That is where the story of Momotaro actually starts. So we're gonna see that after the next week break. I mean the week after the next week break actually. So anyway, like this video, subscribe for more, and comment what you think about the manga chapter. You guys can also follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and like my Facebook page. Until then, this is Anime Guy here saying sign out. Laters!